Hello and welcome to the Most Dangerous Podcast. I'm James. Hello, Fraser. How are you?
Hello, I'm okay, thanks. Yeah, I've had I panicked then because I realised that I've actually done fuck all since we last spoke. I've got nothing to tell you.
No, I know, but it's only been a couple of days though. Because
Yeah.
so we last spoke on Friday. It's now Wednesday, so
I know.
there's not really much that's happened in my life either, apart from
Mhm.
we had the bank holidays, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean we've had Easter weekend, so I've done Easter stuff with the kids.
Yeah, I didn't. I just slept.
Haven't done anything the listeners want to hear.
Yeah, but the kids. I had a kid.
Yeah.
Catching up. And I was thinking like the other day, actually. Well, not the other day. This morning, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, like lockdown in 2020?
Yes.
So that was around about this time of year, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Sort of early April, and the weather was absolutely blitzing hot sunshine. If you remember, like
I was
gorgeous. I was in my garden drinking cider, like happy I wasn't in work and stuff. And it's free. Well, it's not freezing, but can't we have another one of them? I don't mean a lockdown. Well, yeah, maybe a lockdown.
I'd love another lockdown because Laura was actually, we found out she was pregnant 3 days before lockdown, and she had that kind of morning sickness that people end up hospitalised with.
Oh God, so, that's terrifying though, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got like a medical condition one.
Poor Laura spent probably 3 months, the most beautiful 3 months we've had in years.
Okay.
And also the longest holiday I've ever had off work. She spent the whole time in bed.
Oh, really?
Missed it all. So, and then also left me then with 4 or 5 kids. Well, 4 kids because one of them was growing inside her. 4 kids to deal with, to homeschool and everything. So I never sat in the garden. I never cut the grass. I just dealt with kids and went
missed
up.
Out.
Yeah, missed it. But I mean, I would rather be in my position than Laura's because she didn't eat food for days on end and stuff.
Well,
like that.
She says that though, but I'm kind of starting to get the impression she was kind of like, just shut the door, Fraser. I'm too poorly to get out of bed. You deal with the kids,
Possibly.
So yeah, that was my thought. I haven't got that much to go on because it's been literally days since we last spoke. So yeah, that's all I've been thinking about really. How shit the weather is at the moment, and it should be better.
It's miserable. We spent Easter Monday in Chester Zoo in the rain because we were like, sorry kids, but we're fucking going. We're having a day out together, tough. And kids are like they couldn't even have their phones in their hands because it was pissing down. We dragged them around the zoo. None of the animals were out. They were all just under shelter, miserable.
We're longing for a lockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, funny you should mention Chester Zoo because it does crop up in our tale today, our story. But before we do that, I think we've got some dangerous news.
So, dangerous news. It's my turn, and I have 3 moderately interesting stories here for you. The first one that actually, it was the headline caught my eye, and I thought, as a headline's meant to do, it made me want to read the story. So here we go. Central Thai city aims to put an end to monkey mayhem.
Monkey madness.
Now, if you've ever, not many people have been to Thailand, but a lot of people have seen videos of sort of Thai cities. There are some of them that are absolutely overrun with monkeys.
Yeah, apparently so, yeah. I mean, have you been to Thailand?
No, never been to Thailand.
I'd love to go. I think it looks...
I thought you went.
Japan. I went to Tokyo.
I thought you went out to see Dan.
No, not yet.
No.
My missus won't let me, actually.
I don't blame her. But yeah, so basically, the Thai wildlife officials in Lopburi have unveiled plans to address a long-standing conflict between humans and monkeys, which has plagued the central Thai city for over a decade.
A conflict.
A conflict.
I've seen a film about this.
Have you?
Yeah, it's Planet of the Apes, I think.
Yeah. It's a bit like that. The most recent one I saw was, I think Carl Pilkington was there and he nicked his Monster Munch and stuff like that. And
oh, right. Oh, yeah. I've seen that one, yeah.
Yeah, they're just an absolute pain in the arse. So basically the officials are like, we need to sort this out, but we also can't be seen to just, blitz a load of monkeys during the night.
Get a machine gun.
Yeah. So what they're doing is they're aiming to capture around 2,000 to 3,000 urban monkeys and relocate them to large enclosures. Now, I assume that's not just big cages. I think that'll be like nature reserves and stuff like that. But they've decided to collaborate with wildlife experts to allow a limited number of monkeys to remain free in the city. For whatever reason, I don't know.
That's weird, isn't it? How do they pick? Like,
I know.
Go off their national insurance number or something.
Possibly the best behaved. He hasn't stolen someone's crisps for about 3 years. He'll be all right.
That's awful. I mean, I kind of get it, I suppose, but monkeys have a right to roam around too, I suppose.
The thing is, every animal infestation in the
it's not an infestation, it's just monkeys chilling,
it's where they live. They probably lived there before the city was built.
Exactly, yeah.
That's what I was going to say. All these animal things are inevitably caused by humans in the first place. Like, seagulls hang about where we discard food.
Yeah. Then we go, bloody seagulls, these are a pain in the ass, aren't they?
Absolutely. Rats live in sewers where we flush stuff down the toilet and they can eat it. And, it's always kind of our fault in the first place. And then we go, God, they're pests, and we kill them all.
And we kill them all.
So that's all that's really...
Humans.
That's all that's really interesting about that story.
Yeah, it's quite crazy, isn't it? So they put them sort of away from the city.
Yeah, just taking them to, like I said, kind of like nature reserves, places where they're probably kind of fenced in, big open land.
As long as they do that, in about 10 years, there'll be some mass grave with all these monkey bones in.
Possibly. The problem isn't the problem just going to happen again? Because if they leave some in the city, monkeys breed, and
they'll just come back.
Yeah.
And what if they're splitting up families and stuff? That's sad.
Okay, so the second story was one that it just came up on my Facebook. I think Facebook now knows what sort of stuff I'm interested in.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if you saw this story. It's the headline's Oregon man narrowly escapes being gored by runaway saw blade.
No, I didn't see this one.
No. So a man...
This sounds good.
Yeah, I often spend a lot of time watching people getting hurt on YouTube and stuff. And
they're the best ones, though, aren't they?
They are. Do you remember You've Been Framed? That used to be amazing. But nowadays, how tame You've Been Framed actually was.
Yeah, I think some of it's gone a bit too far the other way. I remember in You've Been Framed, they used to have a disclaimer saying no one was hurt, in these videos. Yeah. Whereas now it's people getting their arms cut off and stuff, and
it's brutal.
It's just sometimes you scroll through Twitter or X and Facebook, and it doesn't give you any warning. You just kind of go, "Oh, this looks quite good," and before you know it, "Oh my god."
Yeah, that guy's insides are on the outside. There's a famous one of a wee boy on a scooter that comes down a hill, smashes into this gate, and then walks away holding his belly crying.
I've seen that one, and then and then it clips to another one, and another guy does the exact same thing.
Yeah. But apparently one of the wee boys died, later from internal bleeding, and I sat up one night watching that video on repeat, pissed myself laughing, and now I feel a bit bad about it that I've learned that it probably wasn't that funny.
Lessons learned. Anyway, carry on.
So this man in Eugene, Oregon is thanking his lucky stars after narrowly escaping being gored by a runaway saw blade just on Thursday there. Shane was entering a local market when a 4-foot saw blade running at a nearby construction site came loose and hurtled towards the store's front door.
Good lord! Wow!
Imagine the big circular saws.
Yeah. Just came loose and just flew out of the.
Well, yeah, because they're spinning at about 1,000 miles an hour, and it came loose off the saw and shot along the road like a runaway tire. Yeah. So Shane says, "I was walking into the store here. I put my hand on the door, and I heard a loud bang and yelling. Just as a cloud of smoke pops up and I see a guy fall in a ditch and a 4-foot blade hurtling at me. The errant saw blade ended up lodged in the stone wall just inches from where he stood.
Wow.
We were standing behind the counter. The store owner says, we were standing behind the counter. All I heard was metal rolling down the street. It was just wind. All of a sudden, we heard a loud bang. It shook the whole store.
Wow.
So, the
4 foot as well. That's not a small blade, that, is it?
That's big, yeah, big.
For a blade.
Yeah, it's massive. So the saw blade was wedged 2 feet into the store's wall and required 3 men to remove it.
Wow. If that hit anybody, then it's curtains, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, if it's 4 foot, yeah, it's not like a...
And it's gone 2 foot into... I mean, you're not 2 foot wide, are you? It just goes straight through you.
Yeah. So he said when he was interviewed, he says, "Oh my God, I had tears all night. It was petrifying. I was shaking in the store. It took a little while before he could talk. The thing was huge. His kids were also shocked when they saw the video. They all came to my house and hugged me and had lots of cries." His kids mustn't live with him. He added, "Obviously it wasn't my time, but probably closest I've ever experienced." He then suggested how he was going to deal with a freak accident. "I need a beer. I'm still shaking. It's 9 o'clock. I'm not going to work today."
9 a.m. Get the beers open. Yeah. That's just what he does anyway. Like, you know, how are you going to deal with it? Never mind that. Crack the beers open.
Just so he says, "It's 9 o'clock. I'm not going to work today." Fuck that.
Yeah. Any excuse for a day off, man.
I know.
I'm with him on that one.
So that was... I keep calling him Sean. It's not, is it Shane? Shane. Some guy nearly got chopped. So last story this week. Broken toilet makes United Airlines flight a very crappy experience. Passengers were forced to endure the terrible odour of feces as the toilet's contents entered the cabin. United Airlines Flight 59 had just taken off from Frankfurt, Germany, and was headed to San Francisco.
It's a long journey as well, isn't it?
It's a long flight, yeah.
Oh, God.
Because that's right the other side of America, isn't it? The contents of at least one... It says at least one... I think that sounds strange. At least one of the plane's toilets overflowed. Surely they know how many. Those on board were forced to endure the terrible odour of feces as the toilet's waste entered the cabin.
Oh, God.
Although pilots conferred with ground engineers for options to deal with the situation, they eventually decided to return the Boeing 777 to Frankfurt, presumably before the passengers raised an even bigger stink. So basically they had to stay in hotel rooms for the night before they got another plane that didn't have shit going up and down the aisles.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. There's no way you can endure that for...
No.
It must be 10 hours at least, I would have thought.
It'd be probably more than that, 12 to 14, I'd say.
Yeah, it's just, there's no other option there. You'd have to turn the plane around. Imagine the carts going up and down the aisle, like squelch.
It'd be rank. Certainly put you off your food, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
There's no escape though. It's an airplane. You can't even open a window.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and you get like stew or something for your main meal. Like,
yeah, I couldn't believe Laura didn't know this, and we were on a plane recently, and I said to her, I can't believe they used to actually smoke on airplanes.
Yeah, at the back, yeah.
They used to have little ashtrays in the armrests and stuff like that.
The smoking bit at the back and then the non-smoking bit at the front, like it made a difference, like in restaurants. The non-smoking bit next to the smoking bit. Like, well, the guy's just blowing smoke over here.
That's it. You could be in a non-smoking table right next to someone on the first smoking table of the smoking zone.
Yeah, I know. It's showing her age a bit there. I mean, I do remember, I think I was old enough to go to a restaurant with a girlfriend where they had smoking. So I think they kind of knocked it on the head. Early 2000s, maybe.
Me and you sat in City Bar on a Sunday night, the last night you were allowed to smoke.
Did we?
Yeah. It was
celebrated with a pack of 26.
Yeah.
Like, we're having these, all of them.
Basically sat and caned a load of fags, and it was City Bar, I remember. And we were upstairs, which is weird, because you used to usually go downstairs, but
yeah,
sat upstairs in City Bar and we smoked. Yeah.
That
obviously meant more to me than it did to you.
Yeah, seems like it.
So that's all this week's dangerous news.
Thank you very much, Fraser. Very interesting.
No problem.
Well read. Okay, Fraser, thank you very much for this week's news. I suppose now we move on to the main event. And in this week's episode, we're going to shine a spotlight on one of the most iconic and controversial marine mammals of our time, Tilikum, the killer whale.
Like, are we talking orca killer whale? Or...
Orca killer whale, that's it.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
So from his capture in the wild to his tragic demise, Tilikum's story has captivated the world, sparking debates about captivity, animal welfare, and our relationship with nature. So the orca, as you mentioned, or killer whales, they're toothed whales, largest member of the oceanic dolphin family. Orcas are recognisable by their black and white patterned bodies. You know what they look like. Got the white underneath with the white eye patch type things.
Like Willy.
That's it, yeah. Free Willy. They're apex predators with a diverse diet. Individual populations often specialise in particular types of prey. So, I mean, you find them all over the world, actually, which I was quite shocked at. I thought they were just kind of sort of in the Arctic and stuff like that. But you do get orcas in sort of tropical waters and things, different sort of groups. So depending on where they are, that's what they eat. So seals or fish or...
Have you seen there's been a viral video of a Scottish guy on like a paddleboard in a loch up in Scotland, and there's an orca starts following him.
Yeah, I've not seen that, but yeah, I'll mention it later on. But yeah, you do get them on the west coast of Scotland, particularly like in the summer months. There is a particular family that are quite well studied, or a group. I won't say family; it's larger than a family, but
this wee guy's like smacking him with a paddle, going, "Here, you fuck off." He goes, "Well." He goes, "I'm no dying today," and he's like hitting it with a paddle.
Well, he might need to listen to this because he might not want to do that again.
I read. Now you mentioned it. I read that orcas are actually dolphins, not really whales. They're more of the dolphin family than the whale family.
The oceanic dolphin family.
Yeah,
I guess so. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a scientist. Any scientists want to write in? Just feel free, you know.
I just don't want one of those pricks going, "Oh, actually, you'll find it's fucking a dolphin. It's not a whale." Well, yeah, there's always one, isn't there?
Absolutely. So they're highly social animals. Some, if not most, populations are composed of highly stable family groups. They're called pods because they've got like a hierarchy and stuff like that. They've got sophisticated hunting techniques, which you've probably seen on David Attenborough if you're into that sort of thing.
Yes, I have.
And they're quite vocal, actually. They speak to each other in their own particular language. And in fact, I found out whilst looking into this, wherever they are, they've got like kind of different variations of the language. So, it's weird. So, like one that lives in Norway can't speak really properly to one that lives in, I don't know, Canada or something like that.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah. Is it like a completely different language, or more like a different accent, or?
Well, I don't know. Again, I don't speak Orca, but yeah, that's what I've read. So yeah, it's kind of like they can't really properly communicate to each other because they've got their own techniques of communicating.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible, and they're considered one of the most socially intelligent animals on the planet, as we all know.
Well, I've seen videos of not just orcas, but whales will actually come to fishing boats and ask for help. I've seen videos where a whale comes to a fishing boat and lures the fishing boat, and fishing boat follows them, and there'll be another whale that's like caught up in something.
Oh, yeah.
And they've literally come and said, "Can you come and help my mate?" They're really intelligent.
Yeah, I've seen dolphins do it. Flipper, do you remember him?
Yeah, I remember Flipper. Yeah,
he used to do that, didn't he?
Yeah, that was a TV show though. There was another one though. I saw a dolphin push a sea turtle up to a boat to get them to lift the sea turtle out because it had something trapped around it, and the dolphin was basically saying, "Look, can you sort this sea turtle out? Because it's probably your shit that's wrapped around its neck."
It's just incredible animal. Like the whole, these sort of like dolphin
so clever
type things. It's insanely intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, some people think they're more intelligent than humans. I suppose if you go to like a Wetherspoons on a Friday night, then probably
Yeah.
not fair within there, you know. So that's probably why, as the story develops, it's a bit sad, this one, to be honest. Well, kind of, yeah, on every level. So Tilikum, he was nicknamed Tilly. So if I say Tilikum or Tilly, it's the same.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Same whale, right? So Tilikum's journey begins in the waters off Iceland in 1983. Okay, he was captured as just a young calf at just 2 years old, and he was separated from his family pod. So you can imagine he's swimming around in the sea with a big load of family all around him. He gets captured. He gets moved to a small Icelandic zoo for a year or so, and then he's sold to a place called Sealand of the Pacific, which is a marine park in Canada. So Sealand of the Pacific was home to a number of killer whales at the time. And these marine parks, we've all seen them. They do all the tricks, and they get people in, and they get them to sort of bounce balls on their head and jump through hoops and all the rest of it.
Yeah, I've done the Shamu one. What is it? SeaWorld in America.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Well. Yeah. That's good you mentioned that. Yeah. So I mean, Tilly was no different. So he was trained to perform, entertain audiences, and he was just remarkable intelligence, agility, jumping through all these hoops and bouncing, all the rest of it. However, Tilly's life in captivity would soon take its toll. In his time at Sealand, he was placed with 2 other female whales. So orcas have this matriarchal society, so where females sort of are more dominant than the males.
Right.
Tilly being a male, and also being, as we mentioned, from a different part of the world, so he couldn't really communicate with them, was put in with these 2 female adult whales. And they basically just bullied him. They'd abuse him. Obviously, you've got to remember, these are really social animals as well, so they would just kind of like shun him and just not even bother with him. They'd do something called, they'd rake him. So this is where, so you've seen like killer whales' teeth, they're kind of sharp and pointy. So when a whale rakes another whale, what they're basically doing is they'll scrape their teeth down the side of the whale's body.
Shit.
So it's called a rake, and they're just the rake. It's not a wrestling move. So what they would do, these other 2 larger females, I'll say larger, I'm not sure about the sizes, but they're decent size, they're all big, aren't they? They would like rake the side of his body and just shun him and just not even interact with him and stuff like that. So this went on for like quite a few years. He was just performing, go back to his pen with these other 2 females and just be like, this is dead shit, this, isn't it? This is my life now, is it? So he was there for a while. So then on the 20th of February 1991, tragedy struck when Tilikum was involved in the death of a trainer, Kelty Brine. So Kelty Brine, she was 21 years old. She was a marine biology student at the time, locally, and she was working shifts as a part-time trainer at the park. She slipped and she fell into the pool where Tilly and the 2 other females that we mentioned were being held. Now, as soon as she fell into the water, Tilly charged at her and grabbed her.
Right.
Pulled her to the bottom of the pool, and then he just wouldn't let go. He was dragging her around the bottom of the pool, preventing her from coming up, playing with her. At one point, Kelty did manage to reach the side of the pool, but Tilly grabbed her again and just pulled her back in.
Yeah, you ain't getting out of that grip, are you?
Well, that's it. Yeah, that's it. He's just messing about. The other trainers at the park, they were trying to help Kelty at the time, but naturally, of course, they were. But the other 2 females were actually preventing the other trainers from getting into the water.
Oh, really?
So it was almost like kind of like a maneuver type thing.
Yeah.
So Kelty, she actually surfaced 3 times before being drowned.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a number of hours before her body could actually be recovered from the bottom of the pool, simply because they just couldn't. Other trainers just couldn't get in.
Yeah.
So this incident marked the beginning of a series of violent encounters that involved Tilikum.
Wow. So when was this first death? What year?
What did I say? 1992.
92. Right. Okay.
So this is February 91, and this death was Kelty Brine.
Yeah. Just I remember one, but probably 10 years ago or something. I remember.
which we'll come on to, I'm sure.
Okay.
So following this event, Sealand was closed down. I think it was just I think this was the final nail in the coffin, because from what I've read, that conditions weren't great for these orcas and stuff, and the pools were a bit too small and stuff like that. And this death, they just kind of went, nah, we've got to close this place down.
Yeah.
So on January 8th, 1992, Tilikum was transferred to SeaWorld Orlando, which you mentioned before.
92?
1992, yeah. So you've been to SeaWorld, I think, haven't you?
Yeah. Just after 92, actually. 93, I went to SeaWorld.
Really? So you probably saw Tilikum
Wow.
while you were there, I would have thought.
Yeah, I was... Yeah, because I would have been 11.
Yeah. If it was 92, then
93,
definitely, because
yeah.
he was
Wow.
he was the main event, yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, so I mean, we don't need to go too much into SeaWorld.
Yeah.
We know, everyone knows what it is. It's
I
the
know.
same, dolphins and shit jumping through hoops and all that.
That's where I was fingered by the pirate.
Yeah, is that when you had the cotton bud up your ass?
No, that was the time before.
Oh, right.
No,
Sounds a bit
it was the pirate's finger that went up my arse this time.
Really?
Yeah. Told you that in a podcast, but we cut it out.
Okay, I'll keep it in this one. I think maybe it needs to be some sort of investigation.
Yeah, I was getting my photo taken with a pirate, and he put his hand on my arse, and his finger never went up my arse. He pressed his finger against my bumhole quite hard.
Really?
Yeah, I always remember that.
The most dangerous pirate.
It was a bit weird. I mean, I'm glad it was his finger and not his hook on the other hand. But
so SeaWorld Orlando, Tilly becomes a huge star. He was given the name Shamu. Now, we mentioned this earlier, right?
Mhm.
So, and I didn't know this. So Shamu was like the original superhero killer whale. Now, Shamu died in 1971. But after that, all the superstar performers were given the stage name Shamu.
yeah, because you go and you say, "Oh, I saw Shamu." Where did you see Shamu? In Orlando. That's weird, because I saw Shamu in San Francisco.
Yeah, so it's just a stage name for these killer whales. So you'd be like
Yeah.
on the Shamu show or whatever, and things like that. So Tilly, because he was one of the main performers, was given the name Shamu. So if you went to Orlando, SeaWorld, and watched a Shamu show,
Yeah.
then you would have seen Tilly.
Wow. It was 93.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, to be fair, like Tilikum, he did live in better conditions than he did at Sealand previously. But this didn't, however, prevent 2 further more fatal accidents or incidents.
At SeaWorld?
At Orlando SeaWorld, yeah. No, but I should say incidents, not accidents.
Right.
To be fair, just to be absolutely clear. So on the 6th of July 1999, a chap called Daniel Dukes visited the parks. Now, Daniel was apparently a bit of a bum, bit of a drifter. He loved animals and nature and stuff. I think he was a bit of a hippie.
Right.
Kind of one of them, probably stank. Smoked a bit of weed here and there.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with hippies. We all love hippies. But yeah, no, 1999. So yeah.
We all love hippies. We just don't want to sit next to them on the bus.
Yeah, I think you're a bit of a swampy character. But
Aye.
At closing time on the 6th of July, Daniel Dukes, he actually hid in the park away from all the security and stuff. And so no one knew he was there. And when the park was dark, he actually, allegedly, got into the pool, or the tank, I should say, not a pool, is it? With Tilly.
Right, for a laugh, or?
He just loved nature, loved animals, just wanted to have a swim with them, stuff like that. He just loved killer whales, all the rest of it. Now, I do say allegedly because there's no actual footage of him getting into the pool. But the following morning, his body was discovered by SeaWorld staff, draped over the back of Tilly. Whilst the whale was kind of just swimming around in circles and stuff. And he did have loads of bite marks all over him.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, we're kind of guessing that he did get into the pool. Now, SeaWorld at the time, they tried to brush off the incident, just go, look, this guy, look, he's a bum, he's probably got some weird mental illness. you got into a pool with some dangerous animals. Like, what do you expect? Like, this is what happens. And I suppose that's kind of fair enough. Like, you don't go dancing with alligators, or what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, exactly.
But at the end of the day, though, it doesn't really matter, does it? Just because it's not deliberate or Tilly didn't mean it, it doesn't mean it didn't happen. Like, this animal's killed another human. That's kind of not good.
What I'd argue, though, is that the trainer's different to some bum getting in during the night, because the trainer, they should know that the trainer's safe and looks after them and feeds them and stuff, where someone getting attacked during the night could be there to attack them.
Yeah, maybe. You're kind of making an assumption on the whale's part there, though, because surely the whale doesn't know that humans need to breathe air. Like, you might have just been having a laugh and like, let's have a buzz, let's go for a swim. And anyway, at the end of it's just a horrible incident that's happened. But SeaWorld were the ones that go, no, look, he's bum. Yeah, they tried to get away with that one, which I suppose they did to a degree.
Yeah.
So moving on, obviously that's tragic accident. But moving on now to February 24th, 2010. I think this is the one that everyone kind of remembers. This is a lady called Dawn Branshew. Now, she was a trainer at the park, and following a successful Dine with Shamu show, Tilly was being tended to by Dawn. So after the show, what usually happens, I mean, not being myself, but maybe you can help. So they do all the show and the performance, and then afterwards the audience members can kind of sort of sit back and chill out, maybe go for some food, and the trainers will kind of just sort of like look after the whales and sort of calm them down a bit, maybe give them some fish and rub the bellies and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like a performance tank, and then there's like another tank they go round the back to, where they chill out and
it's just
away from the crowd, yeah,
unwind. But there's still audience members there, and they can kind of sort of sit back. And so Dawn, so this was happening, and Dawn was sort of rubbing the Shamu's belly and stuff like that. And Tilly grabbed her by, well, we're not quite sure, just grabbed her and pulled her into the water.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, SeaWorld at the time stated that Tilikum grabbed Dawn by her ponytail. Now, from what I've read, ponytails weren't allowed.
Right.
For this reason, so it seems like SeaWorld were kind of going, well, she had a ponytail. What do you expect?
I remember that in the story, that they said it was her ponytail.
Yeah. Now, I'm quite sure that the rules were, if you're getting in with a whale, don't have a ponytail because they'll grab it. And I think this is another way of SeaWorld kind of, I don't want to get sued, but I think it might have been another way for them to go. But some witnesses in the crowd say that Tilly grabbed her by her arm or her shoulder.
Right.
So it's quite difficult to say exactly what happened, because when her body was eventually recovered, she'd been scalped and her arm had been bitten off. It's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, I think.
Yeah.
The autopsy report said that Branshew died from drowning and blunt force trauma. Her spinal cord was severed. She'd sustained a fractured jawbone, fractured ribs, fractured cervical vertebrae, and her scalp, as I say, was completely torn off her head.
Shit.
And her left elbow and knee had been dislocated. So it didn't do. It was pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Employees at the time threw nets and food into the water in an attempt to distract him. They have different pools. So you have like the performance pool, as you know, and then they sort of like the sort of sitting, chilling out bit pool, the medical pool and stuff. So they kind of opened all the gates and they just tried to sort of maneuver Tilly around to these other areas, just to try and calm him down away from the crowd and things like that. And they eventually got him into a smaller medical pool where they managed to calm him down. And after about 45 minutes, Tilikum released Dawn's body.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
I mean, the pool must have been red with blood, surely.
You would have thought so, yeah. It would have been horrific.
Arm removed, scalp removed.
Yeah, just all sorts. And just a final note, it was Dawn's long life ambition to be a SeaWorld trainer.
Yeah. That was probably the wrong ambition for her then.
Yeah. Well, I guess so. She died doing something she loved. I don't know.
I suppose so. Bet she didn't feel like that when she was getting dragged under the water, though.
It's just awful. Like, it's just horrific. And well, go on.
I was going to say, I think it goes with anything though, that you've got to always understand that. Like, I knew someone that was a pilot, and he said, I know every time I get on the plane there's a chance I'll crash and die, but I like being a pilot.
The element of risk, yeah.
I don't want to do anything else. Whereas she must have understood that there's probably that chance that, yeah, the whale could turn on you. You've got to go into a job like that knowing that these things can happen.
Well,
it doesn't make it okay. But...
No, that's true, but let's just move on. So, tell me, how many people have been killed by killer whales in the wild?
It's going to be very few, I think. It's going to be very few, because killer whales in the wild have probably got a lot easier things to hunt and catch than humans that are probably... Because a killer whale eats a penguin or a seal, then it just eats it. Whereas they eat a human, they're usually in a wetsuit or something like that, and...
So there's been absolutely no recorded deaths of killer whales.
Oh, really?
Killing humans in the wild.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of run-ins, a couple of bites, a couple of nibbles, kind of perhaps get away.
Yeah.
There's been, in fact, I did read a few boats have been sunk where they've smashed into the side of them, probably thinking it's prey or what have you. But absolutely nobody's been killed by a killer whale. Like the name suggests, they're excuse me, these ultimate killers in the wild, but nobody's been killed. And I think Tilikum's story, brought the issue of sort of captive orcas into the spotlight, prompting calls to sort of end marine mammal captivity. Obviously, these are highly intelligent creatures. Some people were arguing at the time, well, how can you keep something so intelligent in such a confined space? It's cruelty, really. It's unethical.
It's awful. We're only doing it for our own entertainment. But that whale...
Well, are we though? Are we? Because there is the other argument that suggests that it's a vital role in people's education, conservation. Obviously, killer whales, they are endangered as far as I'm aware, particularly in certain pockets of the world. It's good for research. So it's not just necessarily for our own entertainment, but it is. There is a flip side to it, a scientific side to it. Say, well, it is necessary. Yeah.
See, I swam with dolphins in Mexico, and at first, particularly myself and Laura were both really animal orientated. She's a vet nurse, and we were both a bit like, it would be an amazing experience, but I don't want to encourage them keeping dolphins in a tank. But the place that we actually did it, they said that the money that's raised by us swimming with the dolphins, they put into conservation for dolphins in the wild. And these dolphins we swam with were ones that they'd actually rescued from other places that couldn't be put back into the wild. So they hadn't actually gone and captured or bred dolphins just for entertainment. They were looking after dolphins that have been rescued. They trained them to entertain people, to make money, to help protect dolphins in the wild.
Yeah, right. And this is the thing, I suppose. Like, I completely get it, right? I love zoos. Zoos are brilliant. Chester Zoo is one of the best in the world, as far as I know, and I love going there. It's great. And then you go and see these animals, and you look at the pens, and they go, this animal is so endangered. There's about 40 left of them in the world, and we've got 3 of them, or 4 of them. It's great. Look at the great work we're doing. But just wouldn't it be so much better if you didn't need that? Wouldn't the world be such a better place if we just didn't need zoos and SeaWorld and things to kind of keep these animals contained? I mean, it's a wild dream, but that's just my thought. That's all.
Absolutely. I think that I spoke to one of the directors of Chester Zoo that we did flooring for, and he said that they haven't got a single animal in Chester Zoo for people's entertainment.
Of course, yeah, and they do an incredible job, and I think the argument here with SeaWorld is that I think the performance part of it is uncalled for. If you want to look after these animals and ensure that they live a fulfilled life, then what are you making them jump through hoops on fire for?
True. Yeah.
It's and again, and just going back to Tilly, like, did he commit or murder essentially because he was just going insane? Like, was his head just gone? And he's just going, I can't do this anymore.
I have no doubt he did it out of frustration and boredom.
Potentially, like, who knows?
Because it wouldn't have been out of hunger, because he would have been well fed.
You'd hope so, yeah.
And I don't think it would have just been a killer instinct, because
it doesn't seem like that because of the figures that they're in the wild. All right, yeah, it's perhaps more unlikely because it's not every day that you come across killer whales in the wild. It's, I don't know. It's just, it's one of them, isn't it? It's open for
boredom and frustration.
Yeah, and plus he was, he didn't have a great life in captivity in his first couple of years, first 10 years or so, when he's been bullied and things like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just food for thought. That's all.
Aye.
So we're just coming on to the end now, and Tilikum did continue to perform after the death of Dawn Branchew. However, in 2016, Tilikum passed away at the age of 36.
Right, is that a normal age?
Well, I was going to say, yes, it's quite unusual. I mean, it's quite unusual. They usually live a little bit longer, or at least. Orcas are unusual in captivity because most animals in captivity tend to live longer because they're living in good conditions. They haven't got the threat from outside factors. Whereas with orcas, they tend to live shorter lives in captivity. So again, this sparked off discussions about captivity and marine parks and things like that when he did die. So I think 36 is not a great age.
For the younger side of normal.
Yeah. Of course, it serves a reminder into the efforts of conservation and the need to protect the wider world and things like that. But perhaps for another day.
Yeah, it's shite. I mean, it's shite that all this conservation that has happened because of stuff we've done in the first place.
Exactly, yeah. It's like we were saying about the monkeys in the news and the seagulls. Like it's because of what it's all what we do has impact. Has such a wider impact on things. And
like we're having to do this because we've wiped them out. Chester Zoo are getting gorillas. They're building a huge Africa expansion, nearly like half the size of the zoo again, with a hotel that you can stay in and giraffes come up to your window and all this.
Wow! Okay.
They're getting gorillas, and the guy said that is it less than 1,000 mountain gorillas left in the world?
It's just so sad for me. I think and it's great that they're doing that.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be great if they could just live where they want to?
Yeah, they don't have to do it.
Yeah, where it doesn't piss down fucking 300 days of the year. Like, I mean, we're going off at a bit of a tangent, I think. I think there is relevance, obviously, with Tilly and stuff. I think that the question is whether it's if he was 36 when he passed away. He was 2 when he got captured. He'd been living in captivity for 34 years. No, there was never an idea that he was ever going to be released into the wild. So, that potentially could send you mad.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's just a killer whale, man. That's maybe just what they do.
Maybe.
Who knows? But yeah, I mean that's I don't want to go all like kind of like eco warrior and stuff. I just wanted to tell the tale, but yeah, it does open a lot of questions, I think. So I mean, obviously we don't have much time to do this tale about Tilly justice, really. Podcasts are generally short, people get bored. So if the story does resonate with you, Fraser, or any of the listeners, then I recommend you go and watch a film called Blackfish. It was on Netflix in the UK. I'm not sure if it still is, but you can find it. Amazon, I had a look before. It was like £4.50 to buy or something.
Right, yeah.
It's basically just this story, and the story of SeaWorld and the conditions that captive whales are kept in. It does far more justice to this tale than I ever could.
Mm-hmm.
And the film itself, it won a few awards, and it actually led to changes in the law.
Mm-hmm.
So SeaWorld don't actually carry out performances anymore with orcas, and I don't think. Well, it didn't. I mean, the film's about 10, 12 years old now.
Yeah.
So apparently that it's just more about conservation and going to see them and how they live. So they don't do the bouncing rubber balls and all the rest of it. So that's Blackfish. So I do highly recommend that you go and watch that.
I'll need to have a look at it. A big campaigner against SeaWorld was, remember Steve-O from Jackass?
Yeah.
He's campaigned against them for years.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch this film, then I wouldn't be surprised why. As to why.
Yeah.
Right, okay, well, that's me. Well, thank you very much for your time and listening. I hope it didn't depress you too much on this one. I feel a bit sad now, actually.
It's all stuff that's bothered me for years anyway, so it's nothing new to me. I keep saying, I'm soft with animals, and I hate it. It's miserable.
Yeah, it's a shame. And then obviously people died, and that's not good. Yeah. God, what a depressing episode this has been.
I'm no more depressed than I was at the start, if that helps.
Oh, right, okay, that's all right then.
But,
okay, I think that's us then. I think we're going waffling on for quite some time, I think.
I know, it's quite a bit to cut out
there. Righto, got any plans for the week?
Have I got any plans for the week? Not really, no. Laura's back in work for a couple of days, which means I can't work because we've still got the kids.
Right.
So, yeah, just we've tried to have a few days out and stuff like that. And so, no, not a lot, really.
No, I'm going to Yorkshire on Friday.
Yorkshire? Whereabouts?
I don't know.
Just sat nav.
It's been arranged by the better half. We're staying in like one of these pods.
Oh, right.
You
cool.
know, like these camping pods.
Yeah.
So it's like near Skipton up that way. We're going to Skipton on Saturday to have a look around. But then on Friday we're going on this kind of mad nature walk thing that she's wanted to do for ages. I don't fucking know. I just go, man. I just go with the flow.
That's it. I just pay for stuff.
Yeah, just nod and go, yeah, okay, then I'll go.
You know, should we go here today? How much is it?
yeah. It's only £10 each.
Yeah, okay.
But you count it all up, it's like, yeah.
Can we take a packed lunch? That's what I have to go to the cafe.
So that's me this weekend. So I will see you on the other side.
See if it rains and you're in that pod and it rains the whole time you're there, you'll start to realise how much you all fucking hate each other.
I don't need rain to tell me that.
Sitting, looking at kids, looking at your own kids, going, I didn't know you did that. That's really annoying. So, yeah. Rain's wonderful for causing arguments, isn't it?
Yeah, anything causes arguments with me and my family.
Well, that's been really
interesting. This knife here. Sorry, go on.
Well, that's been really interesting, James. I've enjoyed it.
Good. Righto, well, that's me. I'm signing off. It's late.
I know, it is a late one tonight. But no, I appreciate that. Thank you. Now it's your pod, so you can do the goodbyes.
Oh, I don't know. You do the socials because I don't know them.
The socials. Oh, yeah. We're crap at this. So you need to like us and follow us and share us and do what you can to help promote the podcast, because without you, we'd just be two guys doing this podcast for ourselves, and that would just be weird. So we're on Facebook, The Most Dangerous Podcast, TikTok, Most Dangerous Podcast. Yeah, YouTube. We're growing our YouTube community now because we've got some videos out there.
What?
Yeah, you just turn up once a week and talk. I do
videos. What videos?
Videos, yeah. We've got some nice videos that I've spent time making, James.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll have to check them out at some point then.
So, no, we've got some lovely videos so you can actually watch the podcast. You can't watch us because,
because we're ugly.
Yeah, because we're not worth watching. But there's some nice visuals on there. You can watch the videos. You can follow us on YouTube. You know the usual, Spotify, everything. Just
email. What's the email again?
jamesandfraserpod@gmail.com. Still
nice
can't afford that good one.
No, not yet. We need to get some people sponsoring us or something.
I know. So no, do what you can. Do it for us, and we'll keep doing this for you for free.
Righto. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening. Take care, Fraser. See you next time.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks, James. Bye-bye now.
Night-night.